The term denazification was used by the Kremlin in the early days of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, thus trying to justify their regression in the eyes of the world community, for which the war had to look like a local conflict, and also in the eyes of citizens of the state, whom Russian propaganda fed fables about the mythical Nazis in Ukraine before that. The more losses the Russians suffered in the war against Ukraine, the more the Kremlin had to invent new excuses for continuing the war. It even reached the point of absurdity, like desatanization. But after almost 11 months of a full-scale war, the topic of denazification returned again. However, in a different version. The civilized world started talking about the denazification of Russia itself. And these are not big words. After all, Russia is a model fascist state. Historian Timothy Snyder says so.
Russia has a cult around a single leader, Vladimir Putin. It has a cult of the dead, organized around World War II. It has a myth of a past golden age of imperial greatness, to be restored by a war of healing violence, the murderous war in Ukraine. Fascists calling other people fascists is fascism taken to its illogical extreme as a cult of unreason. It's a final point where hate speech inverts reality and propaganda in pure insistence. Calling others fascist while being a fascist is the essential Putinist practice. Timothy Snyder, historian, professor at the Yale University, in an article for the New York Times.
The denazification of Russia should follow the German example. Alexei Makeyev, Ukrainian ambassador to Germany, is sure of this. After all, in order for Russia to take the path of democracy and stop threatening the whole world with new wars, destroying Putin's regime is not enough.
This is a process of denazification that the Russians must come to. Germany has a great experience in how to re-educate entire generations. The repentance that Germany has gone through is a perfect example of what Russia must go through if anyone hopes that Russia can be civilized and democratic. Alexei Makeyev, ambassador of Ukraine to Germany, in an interview with European Pravda.
The beginning of this path for Russia will be convictions for war criminals at international tribunals, which are already going on, to bring those responsible to justice. After all, as long as the Russians do not admit their guilt for the atrocities in Ukraine, they can forget about the democratic future for the state. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Ksenia Barvinenko, UATV News.